Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, frankly game-changing shift that's happening in the professional world right now. We're moving away from that old mindset of just building technology for the sake of it, and we're stepping into a new role, the strategic architect. Look, right now the tech world is absolutely buzzing with AI. It's everywhere. And honestly, a lot of organizations are scrambling to adopt it without actually knowing why. So our core focus today is to help you shift from merely taking orders and writing code to finding and solving the real business problems that are actually worth your time. We've got a great roadmap lined up for you today. First up, the big picture, where we talk about finding the real problems. Then, the framework, evaluating AI readiness and ROI. And finally, the bigger idea, how to fundamentally shift your mindset to think like an architect. All right, let's jump right into part one. The big picture, finding the real problem beneath the surface.
We are living an era of intense tech FOMO. The fear of missing out is real. Everyone is scrambling for shiny new tools, which brings us to a really fundamental question. Why do we actually build technology? Seriously, think about it for a second. So many organizations rush to adopt the absolute newest AI models simply because, well, their competitors are doing it. But building tech without a clear business-driven purpose, that is a textbook recipe for failure. We don't build technology just to have it sitting there. We build it to solve painful, real-world problems.
Think of it like a giant iceberg. Someone comes to you with this stated want, a client or an executive demanding, hey, we absolutely need an AI chatbot. Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? But if you look underwater, you find the actual need. What's really going on is our customer data is completely fragmented and unsearchable. So many AI pilots fail right out of the gate simply because teams rush to build that chatbot without ever realizing that the root problem was terrible data organization all along. Let's look at a retail scenario. The stated want from leadership might be, we need a generative AI personal stylist for our app. Wow, sounds super innovative, doesn't it? But the actual need driving that shiny request is usually purely financial. They're actually saying, we need to increase our average order value. Just like a medical doctor, a true professional treats the underlying disease, not just the surface-level symptom. So how do you actually get to that root cause? Well, you use the 5 whys approach. It's brilliant. First, you hear the initial requirement. Second, you ask why, repeatedly. Why do you need a chatbot? Well, why are customers frustrated? Why can't they find answers? Third, you strip away all that technological hype. And fourth, you finally define the true business pain point. It's a beautifully simple tool to drill down past the buzzwords and get right to the core operational or financial need. Okay, moving right along to part 2, the framework. This is where we evaluate readiness and true impact. Now we're getting into the mechanics. Before you even think about writing a single line of code, you need a rigorous evaluation framework. You have to audit 4 main pillars. First, strategic alignment. Does this actually tie to revenue or cost goals? Second, data governance. Is your data architecture genuinely ready for this? Third, technical capability. Do you have the internal expertise and the infrastructure to actually pull it off? And finally, culture and talent. Does the company have the agility to learn? I'll tell you right now, skipping these steps is exactly why a staggering majority of AI pilot projects never actually make it to production. I really want to zoom in on that last pillar for a second, because honestly, technical feasibility, that's really only half the battle. Cultural change readiness is where these projects truly live or die. Think about it. Does leadership actually commit to the initiative? Is there a willingness to fail? Which, by the way, is absolutely crucial for an innovation mindset. What are the organizational risk tolerance levels like? Are different departments actually willing to collaborate? An organization's cultural appetite for change is very often the deciding factor in whether your project succeeds or just becomes an incredibly expensive paperweight. So once you know the organization is ready, how do you measure the impact? Well, you need to categorize your project. Is it incremental? Meaning, is it just small, steady improvements to existing flows, like, say, slightly faster data retrieval? Or is it transformational, meaning it radically changes the entire business model, like shifting from selling hardware to creating an entirely new mobile ecosystem? Knowing exactly where your project lands dictates exactly how you're going to pitch it to your stakeholders. And calculating that return on investment, that requires pulling multiple levers. Sure, you have your easy-to-measure cost reduction and productivity baselines, but you absolutely must factor in qualitative benefits, like massively improved customer satisfaction and risk mitigation. To truly justify a major initiative to CFO, you've got to look at all these dimensions, and that includes the often ignored negative risks of not doing the project at all. Which brings us to part 3, the bigger idea. cultivating the strategic architect mindset.
There is a stark, absolute contrast in how professionals operate today. On one side, you have the passive requirement taker. They just wait around to be told what to build, they take the ticket, and they write the code without ever asking why. But on the other side, you have the proactive strategic architect. This person interrogates the business strategy, asks the really tough questions, and ensures that what is being built actually solves a critical, burning problem. And for the experienced engineers tuning in, we have got to stop obsessing over platform specifics. Honestly, arguing over syntax or local versus cloud deployments, it's a distraction. You need to obsess over the P&L, profit and loss. Focus relentlessly on business outcomes and competitive advantage. Always remember, an enterprise does not write a multi-million-dollar check for perfect syntax. They write a check for immense business value. And that brings us to a really vital definition. What exactly is a high-value problem? Basically, it's an organizational pain point that, when solved, creates the most significant financial or strategic impact, regardless of the technology used. Read that again. Regardless of the technology used. True value is found where the organizational pain is the highest. Your job is to locate that maximum pain point and alleviate it. At the end of the day, the true value of a professional is measured by the business outcome, not just code quality. All these AI models, cloud infrastructures, and complex algorithms, they are just a means to an end. Your ultimate goal is to orchestrate a complete solution that fundamentally improves the business you are working for.
So I want to leave you with a unifying mantra. Fall in love with the problem, not the solution. We've got to stop looking for excuses to use shiny new tech. Start falling in love with the complex, messy business problems, and the right strategic architecture will always naturally follow. So as you head back to work today, ask yourself this: what messy, complex business problem are you going to fall in love with tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.